Hello, this is a quick first look at Ashes of the Singularity. This is a game I've backed for quite a while now. I'm a big fan of this kind of game, love Sins of a Solar Empire, used to love Total Annihilation, all that kind of stuff, and I got really excited recently as I discovered that this is actually been done in collaboration with David Simpson, a really good author. He's written a book that is like the forerunner of the game. I'll put a link to that in the description below. And so a lot of this stuff, if you're familiar with his work, a lot of the storyline, you'll see elements of him in terms of terms like post-human and things like that. So I've only had this now for, well, really a day or so. It only came out the other day and I've been away for a couple of days. So this was my first playthrough, first look at the game. It's a really good looking game. When it opens up on the first level, you'll get a taste for what lies ahead, and the thing that really impresses me on this is the lighting effects. I've never seen a game that looks so amazing in terms of the missiles flying around, the lightning lasers, the lasers backwards and forwards. It just looks incredible, looks like a film. And this was running on just my PC, which is a i7 PC, and it has a GTX 980 graphics card. The opening levels are pretty basic to get you involved in the game, just to get you familiar with selecting units, moving units around, and the radar. So that blue around there is radar. It's a really simple system, but you can see the red patch is the enemy, so it doesn't quite know where the enemy is, but the artillery is firing into that red zone that's been detected by the scouts. It's just a really nice visual system. I've not seen it implemented like this before. As you progress through the game, you'll be taught the basics, and if you're familiar with this kind of game, you'll know exactly what you need to do. You get your engineer, you need to harvest the resources, in this case metal and radioactives, and there's various points. You can see on the little mini map in the bottom left, there's various points that you can capture, and then these open up more resource options. And so the game continues, you build up your armies, send them off, destroy lots of things, and it's a really simple, very familiar formula, but it looks fantastic. So here I've sent a small squad off, and they're now going to capture this point, allowing me to progress a bit further. If you're new to this kind of game, you'll really appreciate this really nice learning curve. If you're an old hand at this sort of stuff, you will whiz through this pretty quickly. The upgrade path has been kept pretty basic. It's certainly nothing like something like Sins of a Solar Empire or Civ, and that kind of suits this style a little bit better, I think, because this is quite a fast-paced game. You want to get building up your units. You don't want to be messing around too much with the research tree. There's some additional game modes, such as King of the Hill, which is a really nice touch. You have to basically last as long as you can. I didn't last that long at all. I managed to fend off the first round of attacks, but they'd already done enough damage that I just couldn't pull things back. But again, take a look at the light missiles on there, so you can see the missiles from the defense just streaking through the air. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss, but they look fantastic as they're being fired off, and there was absolutely no lag at all. And I have had quite a few units on the maps, not on this stage because they pretty much just wiped me out really quickly. So what I would recommend before you get really stuck in, obviously play the tutorial or play the first few levels, but to really start to understand and learn about the game and the units, fire up a single player match and just get a decent map size with an easy opponent on, and that just gives you a bit of a feel, because you can then learn a bit about armies and how best to use those. The idea of armies is more than just them being grouped together. They'll actually act with each other, so they'll put for example, they'll put the scout units at the front and they'll go in first, and the artillery at the back. Later on in the game, you get to have a little play with these dreadnought units. These are much larger, slower units, but they are pretty hard, and they have some really great features. One of them is that you can call up reinforcements. So I just clicked on a medic unit there, I think it was, or an air unit. That'll then be built back at the base, and it will automatically come and find this unit and join it in battle or wherever it happens to be. So it's a really nice little system that means you don't have to keep going backwards and forwards to your main base to add units to something. Now, while these units are rock hard and do pack a punch, you don't want to send them off on their own, because as you can see, the health on this particular dreadnought is starting to go down because it doesn't have any air defences. So you do need to consider a nice balanced approach. One thing I will say about Ashes so far is that I'm absolutely loving it when it all kicks off. So you get all your units, and you see here artillery being fired, the lasers being fired. I was then calling up a load of reinforcements which join these pair of dreadnoughts, and I've had up to I think how many units have we got there? About 700 units I think I've got on this particular map at the moment. I've not managed to take it right up, but you can see here they all come swarming in, lasers going off everywhere, artillery firing. It's just a fantastic looking game, and I can imagine when you get stuck in with multiplayer this could be as addictive as Sins of a Solar Empire. So there you have it, there's my first look. I'm really enjoying it so far. I really need to get stuck in, so I'm going to go ahead and have a good play around with this, get stuck into the main campaign. And I'm also really looking forward to having a read of the book as well. Don't forget the book, that's available on Amazon now. I'll put links to the Amazon US and UK store below, and it's available to buy, or I think it's available on the Kindle lending library if you make use of that. So I hope you found this short look useful. I'll leave you with the destruction of this base just so you can get a feel for how good it looks. Thanks for watching.